Yo, what's going on, mates? I hope everyone's good. Hope you're having a good weekend. It's a lovely sunny Saturday over here. I finally had a trim, which is a big game changer. I've been meaning to do that for so long. But yeah, basically, we're back with another one. As you could probably see by the title, the topic of today's video is the things that I wish I knew before getting my first dry herb vape. Now, the thing about getting involved in the UK legal medical cannabis scene is you have to have a dry herb vape. You have to switch to dry herb vaping. Now, it's way better for you. It's something I did before I even got involved in medical scene. But a lot of people don't do it until they get right up into that point of actually switching to medical. I understand that. That's perfectly fine. You know, each to their own. But I'm just basically going to break down for those people. There's so many of you guys hitting in the comments asking, what vape should I buy? Is there a recommended vape? What do you think on vapes? And I think rather than me saying this is the vape you should buy, because I don't think that that's the best way to go about it, because everyone wants and likes different things, and there's so many vapes out there. Like when I first got started about a year ago on the vapes, there was a lot out there, and it took me a lot of research, and even still I didn't fully get to know what I wanted and what I liked until I tried a couple out, and I realized, like, yeah, this is for me, that's not for me. That's the pros, that's the cons. And yeah, so I'm gonna hopefully help you to skip some of that. Maybe hopefully save yourself, I don't know what I was saying in there, maybe hopefully save yourself a bit of time, energy and money, as always, you know what I mean? You're not going to waste as much on getting a vape that maybe isn't the one for you. So I'm just going to go through a breakdown of things that I think you should look out for and consider when buying a vape. This doesn't necessarily mean, just because I'm saying think about this, doesn't mean to say that's the be all and end all. You just got to think about it and how much does it affect you in your experience in how you would be using your vape. So the first one I'm going to start straight off with, right, is battery life. Battery life is a huge thing on these things. Battery life is a huge thing on vapes, right? Because the more powerful it is, the quicker it's going to use a battery. The more powerful it is, the more it's going to be able to medicate you more quickly and efficiently. But like I say, it's going to eat through batteries. So you've got to think, can I remove the battery from the vapes that I'm looking at? Now, I've got a couple of different vapes. One of them, it's an absolute beast. It's got 2 batteries built in, but you can't remove them. So when it's flat, it's flat. There's nothing you can do. You can plug it in and use it while it's plugged in, but who wants to be sat that defeats the object of a portable vape for me. Now, that's something I'll touch on in a second. But in terms of batteries, you need to just consider, is the battery removable? How often am I going to go through batteries if it is removable? Do I need a charger then for separate batteries? For example, the one I was just talking about there with the built-in batteries, there's nothing you can do other than plug it into USB-C and wait. Whereas with my Tiny Mic 2, you can just literally unscrew the top, tip the battery out and put another fully charged battery in. And I've got a battery charger that always has 2 full batteries in there. So no matter what happens with that, I can always just plug it in. You can plug the device in and charge a battery within itself as well. It actually charges a little bit faster than the battery charger charges the batteries. I said batteries a lot of times. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. Battery life is one to consider. Another one, and I'll be honest, I think I've completely forgot to even touch on this in a lot of videos and when I have spokes like about vapes in general. It's the heat up time. Like when you're using your vape, right, do you want to pull it out, turn it on, and then a minute later be vaporizing? If so, and that's fine for you, that's great. But if you are the type of person who's like me, who, you want to be able to pull the vape out, turn it on and be vaporizing within a few seconds, get your dose in and crack on with your day, then you need to consider that when you're buying a device. Have a look at the heat up times, because you might look at a certain device because a certain person's recommended it and you think, oh my God, this is the best device ever. And you just buy it and then you realize that it takes you 45 seconds to heat up. Or for example, with the Ariza Solo, you know what I mean? It's not even just heat up times on that. It's not the slowest of heat up times, but there's a lock on it. Then there's a menu system that you have to wait to boot up and then go through the menu and select what you want. And then it starts to heat up. It probably has a 10 to 15 second heat up time. I'm not sure what they claim, but I think it's about that in terms of actually using it. But then if you look at the Tiny Mic 2, that's got a heat up time of about 3 seconds. They've actually just talked about releasing the Tiny Mic 2 Black Edition, which has apparently got an improved heat up time. I don't know how you can improve that heat up time because it is so fast. Like, it's so fast. So that's something to consider, is your heat up times, you know. I think the Mighty, if I'm correct, sorry, I believe the Mighty's got about a 40-second heat up time. So it's just something that's worth considering, you know what I mean? Thinking about how much is that going to affect you? Is it something that you're not bothered if you've got to wait so long, or is it something that you really, you know, generally when you're taking your dose, it's not just a chilled sort of thing. You want to be able to just take it there and then. For me, I know the answer, and that's why I went with some stuff with the faster heat up times. That was kind of one of the first things that I was keeping at the forefront of my choice. Same with battery life. I wanted to be able to, after getting the Ariza and not being able to change the batteries, I realised that having a removable battery was a massive thing for me. Now, another thing is ease of use. Like, how easy is it to use? How simple is it to use? Like the Ariza, like I said, you've got like a lock on there, so you have to hold the button for 3 seconds, I think, to turn it on. Then you've got to press 3 different buttons to unlock it. That takes another couple of seconds. Then it says hi, goes through the menu. Then you've got a session mode and an on-demand mode. That's brilliant. You know, a vape with both of those, I think, is always good. But you have to navigate through the menu and the screen, and for some people that might be a bit much. Maybe you can't see the screen properly, maybe your hands are not too great at things like that, maybe you just can't be bothered with all that messing about. And for me, that's where the Tiny might come in. It was a huge ease of use. You've just got a button on the bottom, you tap it 3 times and it turns it on. That goes on to session mode, on-demand mode. You hold the button and it heats it up. Within a couple of seconds it vibrates and it says it's ready. You let go of the button when you're done. If you want to go into the session mode where it's like constant heat as opposed to on-demand heat, you triple tap, and the last tap you hold it down and it will buzz an extra buzz as it's going through the heat up process, and then buzz again once it's ready to go, and it will stay at a constant heat. For me, that's easy to use. In terms of changing temperatures as well, there's a little manual screw on the bottom. You just put your thumb against it and turn it. You don't have to put your nail in it or anything like that. You don't have to worry if you haven't got nails. It's super easy. You just press against it and turn it, and it changes the temperature. Whereas on the Solo, you've got to go through and select the temperatures on the screen, go up and down individually through degree by degree, and it can be a bit confusing for some people. Whereas on the Tiny Mite, it's just got a 1 to 10 scale. They all do correlate to a certain level of heat, but especially when you're getting first involved in this stuff, to me, not even just when you're getting first into it, sometimes it's just a bit fiddly to mess around with. Don't get me wrong, there's a time and a place for the Ariza Solo as well, and that type of device. And there's stuff that's more fiddly and less fiddly as well across the market, I'm sure. I'm just talking about the vapes I've got and using them as examples, but I'm kind of giving you the pointers of what to look out for. So I'm not saying go and buy a Tiny Mite or an Ariza Solo or anything else that I've ever had. I've used a Plenty and an X-Max V3 Pro as well. Both of those are not the ones for me personally, but there's other people who absolutely rate them and use them every single day. But yeah, so the next thing I would say, you've got conduction or convection. Now this is something that's really worth looking into, guys. You've got conduction, convection, and you've actually got hybrid as well, which is like a mix of both. Some people would say it gives you the best of both worlds, but honestly, depending on what you're looking for and how you medicate, you've just got to consider what's right for you. Like, if you're looking to, let me give you, again, 2 examples with my vapes, right? I've got the Ariza Solo 3 and I've got the Tiny Mite 2. Obviously not here, but let's just imagine I did. So the Tiny Mite 2, whenever you're holding the heat on it, or even if you put it on session mode and it's on full heat for the whole time until the battery's dead, it won't actually cook the herb until you draw through it, because it's a convection-based device. Convection is using hot air to achieve a temperature, to achieve heat. So the thermal part, the heating element in there, gets warm or quite hot. You draw it. As you draw it, the hot air comes through the herb and vaporizes it. Whereas with the Ariza Solo 3, that's conduction heat mixed with convection heat, right? So I've never used something that's full conduction as far as I'm aware. I'm not sure what the Plenty is actually, now I come to think of it, but I barely used that, and that was years ago. But yeah, I've not used something that's completely conduction, but this hybrid conduction convection thing with the Ariza Solo 3, for me, it's ideal when you're putting it through a water pipe or a bubbler or something like that, because it means you can just rip the bowl really quick, and it does what it needs to do. However, when it comes to sitting and chilling and sipping on the vape, it's just not realistic. Or if you're doing something whilst you're vaporizing, what ends up happening is that conduction sorry, I didn't explain what conduction is. Conduction is like a hot, so that a part of the vape gets hot. Think of like a hot pan. Like a pan gets hot, you put the meat on it, and the meat physically transfers heat from the hot pan to the meat, which then cooks the meat. Same way with your vaporization. The plate of the oven, shall we call it, inside the vaporizer, the plate at the bottom gets hot, the stem touches that, the stem gets hot, the flower inside gets hot and gets vaporized. Now, if you fill your stems too much on that and your flower touches literally the plate on the bottom, it will combust it. So that's one to watch for with the conduction. It's also a hybrid, that one. Like I say, there is an element of convection to it, but for the most part, the conduction is kind of, even though it's only 25% conduction, 75% convection, it does take over a little bit. Like I say, if you was to put the vape on session mode and stick it on the side with a full bowl in it, fresh, and come back 10 minutes later, it'll be gone. It'll be completely cooked and there'll be nothing usable left there. That's just because of the nature of conduction. That's not to say one's better than the other. It's just to kind of point out to you guys, have a think about what's best for you. Do you want to just take the entire lot of medication in one go, or in a couple of goes over a short period of time? Or do you want to be able to just pull it out, have a go, put it back in your pocket, and then do it again so long later and not have to worry about like the fact that it's still cooking? Now, the thing is as well with the solo, and that's the thing with conduction overall, is even if you turn it off, that heat remains because that plate is hot and it's just going to keep cooking regardless of what you do. You know, it might not be as much as it would be as if it was on and it was on full heat, but it will, trust me, it still cooks. Whereas with the Tiny Mite, any 100% convection device, there's just none of that going on. It's just convection, it's just hot air. So unless you're drawing it, nothing is happening to that herb. Even on full heat left there, it's just wasting battery. That's all it's going to do. So I think that's definitely one to consider. Another one is how are you around, you know, glassware? Because some of these vapes are completely made of like a special plastic that's allowed to, you know, to withstand the heat. Some of these vapes have got glass stems. To me, I prefer the glass because the flavor and the cooling of the glass is top tier. Like, for me anyway, in my experience, as always, this is literally my experience. It's just me. I say this every video and I'll say it again. I'm a geezer sat in his car filming himself talking about his experience. So don't take anything I'm, you know, giving as medical advice or something that you should run with. I'm just trying to, you know, give a few pointers and tips. And I personally think that the glass is much more efficient at cooling and it's so much more flavorful. Now, that doesn't mean it's for everyone. Some people will definitely prefer having a little vape pen, or even like the Stores and Bickle Mighty or Venti or VZ, one of these smaller plastic devices, because they feel like they're very clumsy and they don't want to drop it and it breaks. Generally, I don't use mine that much out of the house. I do sometimes, but not that much out of the house. But I do like it to be portable. I don't have like an area where it's like plugged in and set up, so I like it to be portable, which is why I've gone for portable vapes. I just think that's worth considering. You know, what type of device do you want? Do you want something plastic, or do you want something that's a bit more robust? But also, when I say robust, like metal and wood, like the Tiny Mite, but it's got glass stems. So if you're going to drop that, you are going to break the stems and it's going to cost you money. For me, like I say, the trade-off's well worth it with the glass, but it's not worth it for everyone. Some people, it's just absolutely not. You may have, like, you know, some mobility issues and glass is just not ideal for you, and that's completely fair. You may just be clumsy. I am clumsy, but like I say, it just doesn't weigh up against the two for me. I've broken a few stems, and for what I've saved in flour, I'm not that bothered. It's one of them things. Do you know what I mean? I would have been bothered years ago, but because of the amount I save on flour now by using these vapes, it's just one of them things. Do you know what I mean? It's just part and parcel of it for me. You just got to be a bit more careful and present whilst using it, but it's not for everyone, like I say. So yeah, what type of device do you want it? You know, what do you want it to be made out of? What suits you? Another one is, are you going to be able to use this device through a bubbler or a water pipe, or a bong, as some might call it? You know, I always use the term water pipe because I just feel like, I don't know, I just feel like it's less combustion style. I don't know. It's probably stupid how I'm saying it, but yeah, I use the term water pipe, but I've got a big glass sort of water pipe bong, or whatever you want to call it. I call it that mostly because of the water pipe adapter. That's what you always use on the vapes. Some vapes, this is my point, what I'm trying to get at. If you don't want to use through a bong, bubbler, water pipe, then that's fine. But if you think that you might do, then you want to check that your vaporizer can, or the vaporizer you're looking at, can get can get a water pipe adapter fitted to it. Most of them can, but I just think it's worth pointing out, there's probably some out there that you can't do that with. And if you are considering, because it does make it way more efficient, and not just efficient, but it makes it way more effective. Like it will heat and extract in a very small period of time when you're putting it through a bong or a bubbler, in comparison to putting it through just, anything else. Sorry, not anything else. In comparison, or as opposed to just vaping through the stem that it comes with, or the cooling unit that it comes with. However, it's not for everyone. Some people, it's not practical to use one. Carry one round, etc. If they're always out and about or whatever, it's not for everyone. But it's worth considering if it is something that you want to try. Does the vape you have that ability? Now, it might not come with that ability. Some of them come with the adapters, like the Solo 3 came with the adapter, and my Tiny Mite I got in a bundle which came with the adapter as well, but it is something you have to purchase separately. The X-Max V3 Pro, I had to purchase that adapter separately. I'll be honest, that made that device way better than it was without the adapter, but it still wasn't just quite the one for me. Like I say, it's just finding what works for you. That's what this is all about. So yeah, I'd say those are main things. Another one to consider is where are you going to be using this device? Is this something you're going to be using just at home in one specific location? If so, you might want to look at a plug-in, like a desktop vaporizer, like the Ruby Twist or something like that. Something that's really, really high powered and effective, like a ball vape. Or, the Plenty, that's another option. Again, it wasn't for me, but some people really do rate these devices and they use it every single day. This is why it's pointless me saying, get this device, get that device, because you might get it and think, this is awful, this is not the one for me. I'm just, saying what I think is the important pointers to look at, and what you should kind of look out for across the board to get what suits you. Another one to consider, I'd say, all right, so we've got, is it portable or is it desktop? But also, if it is portable, what's the actual size of the portable? Because I know when I got the Ariza Solo 3, I got that thinking, well, this is portable. It's not that portable. Like, you can move it around your home, but I don't take it out of the house. When I have done, it's too big, too heavy, too bulky, and you're not blending in walking down the road using that. It's just massive. I think the same with the Mighty. I've not actually used the Mighty, but they look huge, and it's you're not blending in with it like you would with the Tiny Mite or the X-Max V3 Pro. Like, either of them, I feel like, especially the X-Max V3 Pro, it's a proper blender. Like, nobody would be able to see you in a crowd of people and think, oh, that guy's vaporizing cannabis. No one would think that. And not that that's an issue for some people. Some people are happy for that, to be that person. But a lot of people just want to take their medication and get on with their day. They can't be asked with the hassle of someone going, oh, excuse me, what are you doing? Or they don't even want to have to think about that. And therefore, having a massive vaporizer with a big glass stem sitting out the top is sometimes a bit much. I find with the Tiny Mite, it's way more accessible to just use out and about because it's like this big. And whereas the Ariza Solo with the stem on top, it's probably about, I don't know if you can see that there, but it's massive, it's huge, and it just doesn't blend in at all. So I think that's definitely another thing to consider when you're getting your first vape, or your second, third, fourth. Some people go crazy buying loads of vapes, and that's fair if that's what you want to do. I can't afford to do that, so I just think these are like key pointers, like I say, to kind of think about and consider when you're looking at getting one. What else are we saying? I would say consider if it's got a session mode or if it's got an on-demand mode, because I think it's very important for battery life and just for ease of use for a lot of people. they prefer the on-demand mode because you don't want to have constant heat. I must admit, on session modes with most devices, the device gets so hot in your hand if you've got it on session for like 15-20 minutes. It's almost, I prefer, if I am sessioning, I'm just sat chilling even with the tiny mic, and I'm sat just like not putting it through anything, you know, any bubbler or bong or anything, I'm just sat just sipping it. I still prefer to use on-demand mode because you hold the button and it's hot in 3 seconds, and then you take your draw and then you put it back down and it's not red hot. Whereas if you put it on session mode, it just gets so hot, it's almost unbearable to hold at times, especially if you're using higher temperatures. Another thing is to look at how the temperatures can adjust and how easy it is to adjust the temperatures. I know I kind of touched on this with use of, what did I say, like the use of, or ease of use, like how easy it is to use. But just have a look into, you know, what temperatures vaporizers can do, because some vaporizers will not allow you to go above a certain temperature, and the terpenes that you want to vaporize might be above that temperature, in which case you're kind of snookering yourself from the get-go by getting something that's not going to allow you to get to that. Some of them have adjustable settings, so you can push it to wherever you want within, you know, most of them are like that from what I understand, but I know there are some that it's just, this is the temps and that's all you've got and there's nothing you can do about it. And for me, I like having full control over it. On the tiny mic, you've got the 1 through 10, but you can actually like remap, if you like. That's the word I can think of. I don't know what, recalibrate or something like that. Basically, you can choose what each of them temperatures is if you want to. You can adjust them yourself, or you can just use it as it is and start to get used to, you know, what numbers work for you. There's even a setting for concentrates on it at setting 10, I believe it is, and that's like really, really, really hot. But yeah, it depends on, you know, what your use is. You might be someone who's going to be on low temps for the majority of the time, and so not being able to go above 210. I believe the Mighty, for example, I don't know if it's just a Mighty Medic. I know somebody with a Mighty Plus Medic, and they were saying it doesn't go above 210. D, if you're watching, legend for even sharing that, bro, because I didn't know that until you said it. And I think this is the exact type of thing that will help other people. If you do want to go above 210, I'm not saying go to the combustion level, but there are certain terpenes that just will not vaporize unless you go into it more than 210. It doesn't mean you have to go right the way to combustion, but there's still a bit of leeway there, which that device is just not going to allow you to do, and therefore you're not going to be able to vaporize them terpenes. So I think that's definitely worth considering. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. You know, we've been over the size of the device, we've been over the different types of devices. Oh, there's another one, cleaning. Watch a video. If you're thinking about buying a device, watch a video of someone cleaning it. Because I thought about buying I think it was the Mighty or the Venti, one of them, and I watched a video of someone cleaning it and was like, nah, I'm not doing that. I can't be bothered with it, and it'll end up building up so long that, one, it's not good for you anyway, but it's also not good for your device, and it's not very efficient. Like, if you don't clean a device often, what will end up happening is it all gets caked up, and a lot of your vapor ends up sitting on the rest of the residue that's left within your device, and you just won't get anywhere near as efficient extraction, or it just won't work the same. So if you can keep on top of cleaning with it, for me, because I'm lazy, the easiest way is to make something that's easy to clean. Now, some people won't mind taking apart their device and having to clean it, all the little bits and intricacies. And for me, I like the ease of the fact with both of my devices. You just pull the stem out, stick it in a Ziploc bag with some isopropyl alcohol and a bit of salt, shake it up for a few minutes, leave it for a few minutes, run some water through it, probably shake it again before I do, and then run some water through it, and it's clean and it's just looking spanking and brand new. Other than that, the actual ovens of the devices barely need a clean, because everything stays within the stem. You know, if something does slip in there and it gets a little bit caked up, you can just get an earbud, dip it in isopropyl, and just rub it round inside, and you're good to go. It's job done. Whereas, like I say, with some of these devices, you have to literally start taking apart the internals and stuff. And yeah, for me, when I watched videos of it, I was just like, nah, I'm not even considering that device now. But I didn't consider it until someone said on a video that I watched, think about, you know, how to clean your device. I think it was a certain device they were showing, you know, how easy it was to clean the tiny mite. In fact, I think I was looking at, and then I was like, oh, but I was looking at this mighty, and then I looked at how to clean that and was like, yeah, I can't be bothered with that. That was another deciding factor. I think a big one that I've just never mentioned before is the heat up times. I think it's so important to mention the heat up times, because maybe it's just me that's so important for, but I don't want to be sat for minutes waiting for, like, the Plenty. I swear that used to take ages. You know, it's just about finding what works for you. Like, for example, the Volcano, right? I've never used a Volcano. I've seen them in loads of times when I've been in Dam, and I've never ever once used one because it just doesn't appeal to me. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It's just never appealed to me enough to go and use it. However, if you were looking at all vaporizers, and this is another point that I think is very important to consider, is if you were looking at all the different vaporizers on the market and you thought that the most expensive one, or the more that you pay, the better a device you're going to get, it's just not the truth. Because the Volcanos, for example, I think they're about 500 quid, right? And from what I understand from people using them, they are not renowned as the best device on the market. They are a good device, but they're not, it's a desktop vaporizer for one, so it's not for most people. It's only for people who have got that sort of space for a setup. And on top of that, a lot of people don't like the big bags that you put on top that you fill up with vapor, because they say the vapor goes kind of stale and it loses the flavour of the terps and stuff, and it's not as nice. And I understand that, because if you fill a big water pipe up and leave the vapor in it for a few minutes and then go back to it, it doesn't taste fantastic, you know what I mean? So I can only imagine if you're filling a huge balloon essentially up with it and then vaporizing out of that, which is what you do with the Volcano. It's just not for me. I would definitely be open to trying one. Like, I'd love to try one at some point. But I've just never ever, when I have seen them in Amsterdam and I'd had the opportunity, I'd never ever bothered, because I don't know, I wasn't into vaporizing back then. Nowadays I probably would. Like, if I went in and I didn't, my vape was dead and there was no option, I would definitely try one. But I just think for me it's probably not going to be the one, because of multiple reasons for how I would have my setup, which is why I don't have a desktop vape. If I was, as you already probably know if you've watched the videos, if I was to get a desktop vape, I'd be getting a ball vape, just because that kind of setup is, to me, it's well worth going to the ball vapes at that point. But this is what I mean. Price, the ball vapes are about 200 quid, and you can get the Volcano for like 500 odd quid. You'd think, well, if you've got the money, go for the Volcano. But it's not for everyone, you know what I mean? Some people it's for. You can get adapters. This is another thing to consider, is attachments and adapters and accessories and stuff that you want to buy for the vape. It's not just about the water pipe one. Like, how you're going to be using that vape depends on them which attachments or accessories you're going to want for it. One that I think's essential for most portables is a smell-proof bag. That's something you're going to have to buy to make sure you can carry around without your vaporizer and your medicine and everything just stinking everywhere you go. I personally prefer it not to anyway. It's not that you're not allowed to have the smell on you, but I just think it's a common decency sort of thing, you know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah, you can vaporize anywhere, but it doesn't mean you should be, you know, blowing it in people's faces or going around absolutely stinking a bud, because I just don't see the benefit of that, you know what I mean? If you can avoid it, then it avoids the stigma that's attached to it. Which, okay, that stigma's wrong, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. But yeah, consider the accessories that are available for the vapes that you're looking at, and is there some that would suit you? Do they come with accessories? You know, that's another thing. The Ariza Solo 3 comes with so many different stems and accessories. I've not had to buy anything for it at all, and some of them I don't even use, to be honest with you. Whereas the Tiny Mite, I'll be honest with you, out the box, you need to buy some additional stuff. Saying that, the new version now, yeah, the updated version, it comes with a different stem that's got terp pearls, like a cooling stem. But essentially, the initial stem that comes with it's only about this big, and it's great for out and about, like nice and stealthy and whatnot. It's got a little cooling unit inside that's like just like nuts and washers and little piece of metal, dead easy to clean as well. But that stem's very small, and it gets hot after you've used it for a few draws, and it's just not fantastic. Like I say, for out and about, it's great, and you can get huge monster hits off it, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I just think without accessories, the Tiny Mite isn't the same device. If you go and buy like a cooling stem, a water pipe adapter, multiple different things like that start to enhance how it's used and what it's capable of, you really start to open up the possibilities of that device. And I'm sure it's the same across the board for many devices, like with the Stores and Bickle stuff. Like, I know a lot of people who will use the Mighties through, or the Mighty Pluses, using the water pipe adapter, and that's a whole that's a whole nother accessory that you've got to buy. I'm pretty certain. I don't think it comes with them. But the thing is, this is why I'm saying consider accessories. That was a bit weird how I said that. That's why I'm saying consider accessories, because there's a lot of bundles available. Like, the people who sell these devices know that people regularly buy X, Y, and Z with them. So like Vape Fiend, for example, if you ain't checked out George Vape Fiend on YouTube, he's got an amazing YouTube channel where they review all different vapes and show, you know, comparisons between them, if you like. But Vape Fiend, they sell vapes, and they tend to sell bundles. Like, there's a Tiny Mite Premium bundle, which is the one I got, and it comes with an extra battery, right, which obviously a lot of people must buy. It comes with a smell-proof bag. It comes with dosing capsules. If you want to try them out, you can try them out. It comes with a water pipe adapter. It comes with a rattler cooling stem. It comes with there's multiple different bits that come with it, and for me, that's perfect. And in fact, I still added an extra couple of bits. I added an additional battery as well, and a battery charger, because there was no battery charger with it. I think that's very important to consider. Now, there is, like I said, I think I mentioned the Tiny Mite 2 Black Edition that they're thinking to bring out. If I didn't mention it, it was somewhere else that I talked about it. But they're talking to bring out a Black Edition of the Tiny Mite 2 in spring. So it's not the Tiny Mite 3, it's the Tiny Mite 2 Black Edition. They've somehow improved heat up times. They've changed the way that you load it, so you load the device and not the stem, which is pretty cool. They've also included an additional battery, I believe, and a single battery charger. Now, that's all well and good, but to me, you need 2 or more batteries. On standby, you need 3 or more batteries in total. I know some people have got 7, 8, 9, 10 or more, so I think it's well worth considering how many batteries you're going to get and what comes with the device. Also, maybe worth considering, not something I've done, but a friend of mine's done, you can buy vapes secondhand. You can go and get them off. I've sold one of my vapes when I got rid of it. You can buy them on eBay, you can buy them on Gumtree or wherever. If you have a look, Facebook, people will be selling, sorry guys, people will be selling these devices. That yawn just come out of nowhere, it was so random. But yeah, people will be selling these devices secondhand, and if you're not bothered so much about, you know, the warranties and stuff like that, and you're not bothered about buying a brand new device, which a lot of people aren't, and you just want to save money, that can be a very, very good, considerable option. I bought mine new, but looking back, when I think about it, I don't know, how much difference would it have made if I bought it secondhand? Because, you know, as long as you're getting a good device, I mean, you're not going to be covered, like you say, through the warranty. I think the manufacturer warranty may still stand, depending on when the device was made. But, going non-stop with these yawns. But you may get asked for proof of purchase, and if which you're then showing that you bought it secondhand. I don't know. But how likely are you to claim on warranty? I don't know. Plus, a lot of the warranties are a year or 3 years or 5 or whatever. So, you know, it depends on how long that device has been used and how long you're planning to have. Yeah, it's just something to consider, that's all. I've got a friend who bought a Mighty Plus. No, it was just the Mighty. He bought a Mighty secondhand off Facebook for like 100 quid, 120 quid or something. And he's buzzing with it. You know, he's saved a good chunk of money getting a high-end vaporizer there for less than half price, I believe, or around about half price. So I think it's just worth thinking about. Other than that, I'm not sure. You know what? I am sure. I'm sure there's something will come up, as always, after I finish the video, and I'll think, I should have mentioned that. But I think that's all the stuff that I would think about considering when looking to buy your first dry herb vape. I think, anyway, like I say, there could be more things. I'm trying to just rack my brains now and think. I'm pretty certain that's, for the most part, that's the stuff that I would consider, you know. Like I say, for me, well, I suppose here's another one. I know I kind of touched on it. You know, I touched on battery life, charging times as well. Like, how long does it take to charge? It is worth considering that, because my Solo takes so long to charge because the batteries, it's got 2 big batteries in it. Whereas the Tiny Mite, it charges rapid. Especially if you plug it into itself, like the USB-C into it, it charges so fast. A lot of them I've got like pass through, so they allow you to charge whilst vaping as well. But yeah, for me, it's just not, that's not really what I'm looking to do. Yeah, I think that's everything, guys. I think that's everything. As always, you know, don't feel like you have to buy something just because someone says it. Like, even me talking about the Tiny Mite 2, it might sound like I'm favouring that device, or I'm favouring the Ariza Solo 3, or whatever you might think it sounds like. Just take it all with a pinch of salt. Just consider all the things I said and look across the market at devices. Like, some people love this new device called the Frolic. Now, for me, I've heard it's great. I've also heard it's, you know, the opposite. I've heard people didn't rate it so much. That's because there's so many differences of opinions. For me personally, I'm not that into a plastic device. I just think you get a taste from the plastic that, even if it's, I know it's heat rated and stuff, I just think it doesn't taste the same as glass. Like, it just doesn't hit the same as glass. Same with metal stems. I've got like a metal and a wooden stem for Tiny Mite, and they just don't hit the same as the glass. The glass is so much better in my opinion. But there's a time and a place. Like, I like the metal stem for when I am out of the house, because if I drop the vape, then it's a metal stem and I'm not going to smash a stem. And it's good because the metal kind of gets hot and then acts as like a type of conduction heat, if you like, because the metal gets so hot it cooks the material from the outside, and it kind of causes it to, you can go through that bowl a hell of a lot quicker than you would in the normal small stem or in any other stem in that Tiny Mite, because of the fact it goes like that, which gives you kind of a bit more of a consistent and even cook, if you like, across the herb. But at the same time, I just think it does hinder the flavour a little bit. Like, there's a taste there that's not there when you use the glass. I find that with the plastic, with the glass, and with the wooden stuff. But, you know, sorry, with the plastic, not with the glass, the plastic, the metal and the wooden stuff. The glass, I feel like there's just no, it's not affected taste, therefore you get the best taste, and it just cools so much better. Obviously, wood and metal and plastic hold heat quite well, whereas glass tends to take heat and cool it down quite quickly. It's just part of the nature of how glass is as a thing. But yeah, just well worth considering, guys. Think about these things. Like I say, this is kind of something I wish somebody had given to me and said, think about this stuff before you go and spend your money on vapes. Just because I would then, I think I would have just, I don't know, it's hard to say, would I have gone a different route about it? Some of the stuff, I think I would have. I think I would, my route would have gone straight for the Tiny Mite 2. I just wouldn't have gone for the other stuff. I kind of wasted a bit of money, but like I say, I'm not sad about that now. I've got the Ariza Solo 3, and I think that's fantastic. I'll be using that when I get home, because I like to use that to be putting through the water pipe or the bubbler or whatever. I just prefer it, because it just cooks that much quicker and you get a much faster, what's the word I was going to say? Although it takes longer to heat up and all, because that's what I was thinking in my head. It's slower in ways. The Tiny Mite's quicker, but in heating up and getting turned on and going. But if you're talking about trying to, you know, go through that entire 0.2 of medication in the shortest possible time, you're going to do that through something with conduction heat, which is what the Ariza Solo is. So yeah, just worth considering these things, people. I hope this has been helpful. Yeah, I do appreciate everyone for sticking around and watching this video. If you have stuck around to the end, as always, drop us a 420 in the comments. I do really appreciate you all, honestly. We're on 2.5k subs and my heads fell off. Like, I can't believe it, to be honest with you. I'm doing my best to get the videos out as often as I can. you know, we've had one this week, and I meant to put it as a live premiere. I was wounded when I realised it didn't go as a live premiere. Instead, it just went as a normal video, because everyone's been hanging out and chilling on them premieres. So it's always a vibe, man. I love it. I look forward to it just as much as the streams, to be honest with you. I love the streams as well. We've got a stream tomorrow at 4:20. So if you're around, you know, every Sunday 4:20 p.m. till 8:40, we'll be around. We'll be streaming. Come and catch a vibe. Come and join the sesh. Yeah, either way, I will be putting this as a live premiere as well. So hopefully a few people will jump in and we'll be able to interact with a few people as well. But yeah, thank you for being here, people. Thank you for listening. I appreciate everyone for showing the love and support. And also, you know, when one of the videos that I've put out, or something I've said, or something someone said to you in the comments, whatever, has helped you, when people come back and are like, thank you for that, honestly, yeah, it makes my fucking day, mate. It makes my week. Like, it's such a good feeling, and it's what makes me want to continue to keep doing these videos. So yeah, I just wanted to say that a massive thank you, people, because there's been so many comments recently like, oh, I watched your video 3 months ago and I've now, you know, got my prescription. It's changed my life. It's freed up so much anxiety and this, that, and the other. And it's mad. It is absolutely mad. There's people who have absolutely transformed their life, and that's not on me. That is on you for doing it. But I appreciate you coming back and just sharing the love and saying, you know, thanks for the heads up and thanks for the help, sort of thing. A lot of time, like I say, there's also people in comments that are keeping these conversations going with each other and helping each other out, and then like, oh, thank you for that. Or same in the lives. I'll be honest, there is some golden nuggets shared in them lives. I've also got channel members now, so I don't know if you know, but we've got the ability to join the channel as a member, and you get access to all previous live streams, as well as, you know, a bunch of other stuff, priority replies to comments, and there's all sorts of stuff there. Have a look through it. You don't have to join by any means, but if you are someone who you want to support the channel and what I'm doing in some way, there's the option. Like I say, do not feel in any way like you need to do that. It's a couple of quid, and if you haven't got a couple of quid, then that's fine, you know what I mean? Or if you know, you need to prioritize, everyone's got to prioritize what they're doing. But if you do want to support the channel, the option's there. And like I say, there is some golden nuggets in them live streams. Like, honestly, there's a lot of good information that I struggle to remember and put into some of these videos. Like I say, I normally just kind of think about what a topic I'm inspired to speak about, stick the camera on and go for it. Whereas some of this stuff, when we're like talking for 4.5 hours on a live stream, there's some proper good conversations that come up there that spark ideas for videos. And some of them they get forgotten about in the time, and it's kind of, yeah, until that sparked again and I remember about it, it won't be something. But if you do want to check them out, like I say, the option is there. But listen, thank you very much for being here, people. Like I say, I'm gonna go now because I've been rambling on since the 4:20. Put the 4:20 in if you watch till the end. We're at the end now, so maybe put in I don't even know. 4:20. If you watched to this point, just put a double 4:20 in. Why not? Listen, thank you very much. I'm going to stop it here, but I appreciate every single one of yous. I couldn't do any of this without yous. So yeah, big up yourselves, and I can't wait to catch you all on the stream on Sunday. Have a good one. If you're not available, whatever you're doing, enjoy. And yeah, thanks for being here, people. Big love.